Happy holidays, everybody! How's it going? I almost didn't come out with this video today because I'm just like dropping this tonight, and it's like going to be a 35 long ass minute video because there's so much to discuss. There's so much to discuss. Like, honestly, I made this video on Sunday because I heard the results on Saturday, like everybody else did, and I was just ecstatic, and I made a video basically rambling about a bunch of nothing and it was only like 19, 20 minutes long or something like that. Um, I redid the video because I just kept reusing the same gameplay footage from Night Rain that I was using in the past, a couple of videos, so I can see how that can end up being stale to my viewers, my on the low viewers that use VPNs, and I don't care about my viewer count, but like. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mudahar, Sungrad, Kakash, Kasan. Am I missing anybody? Damn. I keep thinking that I do, but yet I don't. I think that guy got everybody. Oh my goodness. How is everybody doing? Because, like I said, for some people, this was going to be a damn fun, damn good Christmas. Like actually, my Christmas gift came in. This M2 SSD hard drive. It's only 512 anyway, but I'm happy. I can just store everything instead of like having to re-download and like fill up the hard drive or whatever. And yeah, my Christmas gift came early. I'm happy. I didn't really want anything, and I was actually surprised that I got it because, again, I checked the prices, everything went up like 200, 300%. I'm like, wow. And I only bought this like earlier this month, and it already went up again. But again, like, how's everybody doing? Because I know you're doing well. I know you're doing well. Like, we've all had our thumb on this topic for such a long time, but just kept like getting away from our grasps, slipping out of our fingers, out of our thumb's grasp, so to speak. And yet, I gave credit to Myron Gaines, right? Because he was like clowning Kakash and like the whole, you know, I call it the whole arranged marriage movement where, I kind of have like this contempt because like I was giving it like a lot of thought today, and then I realized something like, it's kind of fucking convenient that like these parents act over fucking protective of their kids, and yet they're getting married in like their teens and shit, like meeting people in their teenage years and getting married around that age, and yet they're so hyper protective of their kids, and then by the time like they get out on their own, like being sheltered for so long, it's like either they become two things. Number one, they become hyper passive, so like they'll just be subservient to anything. So it's like it doesn't matter, male or female. So Kakashi is probably like the male example of it. But you see females who are like this, who are like, like you'll hear about a guy, he's getting charged with like, pedophile charges and stuff, and his wife will still come through to like pick him up from like the police station. You know what I mean? Or Kakash's case, he's like he's not leaving his wife, and I checked the main character podcast. That's still the name of his wife's podcast. Yeah, they're not making any more videos. I think either they're done or they're gonna like rebrand, or maybe like Jizleen's not gonna show up on the thing anymore. But they're both fucking insufferable, to be honest. They're both fucking annoying. Like listening to them talk is like watching people from like high school you didn't want to be friends with, and then like the teacher was just like, all right, everybody form groups, and then like everybody formed a group, and you're like, oh shit, you maybe like you have one or two friends, and then you ended up with these people in your group, and those are the types of people that she is. Because like I gotta bring up the fact that people are still making videos about them to this day, and it's kind of messed up because okay, there's this guy. I think he's like South African. He's like some brown dude, right? 16 Lilo or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't know why I called him that. His name is something else, like a 16 Low. I don't know, something like that. Some brown clown. Anyways, the man made a 1 hour and 20-minute video on this, and I kid you not, I almost, well, yeah, I was watching, like, I have like problems with my attention and stuff. I was like watching it and just going scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through Pinterest. I'm trying to get back into like the grind of like working heavy because I've been picking up Ghost of Yote. As you've been seeing my initial footage, I'm telling you it's my game of the year because like see the problem with like games like Elden Ring and like the other types of games, like your enjoyment actually kind of depends on the people that you're playing with or like what you know and stuff like that. Whereas like Ghost of Yote, it's like, oh, I'm discovering things all the time. The storyline's great, the graphics are amazing, the load times are insane. Like I'm playing a game, right, that is optimized for the Switch too, but like it has like good graphics and stuff on PS3, and the load times in that are actually longer than Ghost of Yote. Ghost of Yote just loads in no time whatsoever, and the graphics are amazing. Game of the year for me. Like I honestly wanted it to be Monster Hunter Wilds, and this is why I made this video 35 minutes long. Because unlike just reporting on all the news and stuff, I like to talk about stuff that like has to do with me and impacts my life. So I was looking forward for so long to Gogmasios, right? This Elder Dragon being released in Monster Hunter Wilds. I was like, oh my god, I never, I didn't actually play any of the older games. Um, After, like, before my first one was Monster Hunter World, so I was just curious about him, and he looked really cool. And then turns out his armor set was trash. It's just Agitator with Elemental, and it raises your Elemental cap. I think I don't know, but with the way some of the monsters are, it's like it only works on like a select few. So probably out of all the monsters, it probably works on 4 to 5 of them in like a varying degree of success, and like everything else is just use your other armor sets because they got upgraded and they're most likely better because they have better skills on them and everything. It's like, why did you put it in the game if you're just gonna make it mediocre at best? Oh, the best part about the armor though is it has other armor skills on it. So it's like, wow, what's so great about this armor? Well, that thing that you liked before, I can use it again alongside this new armor skill. Although I have to admit the barrier skill aspect about it, like on the defensive side, that's pretty cool. So for like slower moving characters or characters that have a problem or an issue dodging, that can be kind of cool. But I'm just gonna run a 4 set Odogaron and then put um, Gore Magala on the weapon, and then just do one piece Gore Magala, and then 4 with Odo and 1 with Gore. Because I've been looking into it, and even though I was delusional about it the whole time, Raw does so much more damage than Elemental, and Elemental is just a bust. I mean, it might be good on bow, but you're better off using uh, physical damage. So I was like depressed. I beat like the monster, and I was just so looking forward to his armor set, and then I got it. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And like, what I hate about it? Because like I'm subscribed to all these Monster Hunter players. Like I gotta easily spoil it for myself, and like not had my hopes up because I was like thinking it was gonna be something cool. Oh my god, it was probably gonna be like something to do with the blast element or like status or some kind of elemental fire or some cool stuff like that. No, it's just agitator again. Now it's with elemental. It's so lame. Like again, the best part about the armor is like if you run it and then you add like another armor piece or you get like a skill on your weapon, you get to have that skill, the 2 set bonus. But again, like you're better off with like a lot of the 4 set bonuses, excluding Gogmasios. Like the barrier is good, but all that elements. Yeah, it's great. It looks cool, right? Like look at that really high number, and it only translates to like maybe 30-40% damage more, which like you would think that would be like a lot, but then when you realize you could do like over 50% more damage with physical, and then some. Like I haven't actually even like hit the ceiling. So if I do agitator attack of burst boost level 2, and then I have the affinity from not just the weapon but like the Gore Magala 2 set because it's on the weapon. Yeah. But that's for me. Like that made me like major depressed. And I just said, well, whatever. At least I can farm for the weapons. They're kind of fascinating, but you know. And then Daemon X Machina had some more DLC released. You know, some new bosses. We finally got to the amalgamate armor pieces all lined up and all that stuff. So yeah, that's my gaming news out of the way. Just throwing that in there, my 35-minute segment of all this bullshit, because everybody knows what I'm talking about when I made this video, this holiday mega special. Um, so like I said in the beginning, Myron Gaines, right? Like he was kind of like redeeming his like self with the whole red pill and the validation about how much of a hoe Jasmine was. And yeah, to his credit, like he was resoundingly right, right? At least in terms of these two individuals in this specific relationship. Now he decides, much like with his co-host, he's going to defend his friends until the very end, and this is where his downfall starts because his friend just happened to be Andrew Tate. Now, people who have tuned into my channel from the beginning probably know how I feel about Andrew Tate. It's like this, I wouldn't say this love-hate relationship. It's more like I hated him, and then I kind of like funnily like acknowledged that he was more of a man than Piers Morgan and like a lot of these you know UK hosting individuals who are just allowing the widespread sexual abuse of the citizens in their country, and it's mostly due to the fact that you know not only are they living in gated communities and secluded from the hardships of people who live around these individuals, but also he himself is a cuck. It's come out that Piers Morgan, at least his wife, has an Ashley Madison account, sleeps around and this and that, and like, the relevance of this all stems from the fact that Andrew Tate was supposed to be this archetypical man figure that was going to lead generations of the new young Gen Zs or whatever, right? Zoomers, Gen Alpha, I guess, to a new like promised land of like success and like almost, I wouldn't say prosperity because obviously you're not going to be prospering by living in a man's shadow, but it was more or less like to escape financial I guess indebted servitude, I guess. So he's basically like trying to get people from working those 9 to 5 jobs to not work those 9 to 5 jobs, and like I honestly have to give it up to Rehab Bro because being I wouldn't say a fan. I'm just like deeply fascinated with him and the incel movement because it has this level of insight into not just like his own people but like specifically the Pakistanis and the Punjabis and like why they're such like insufferable losers that do all these things against women, doing all these things that are just like lame as hell and stuff. So I was just happening to watch or rewatch one of his older episodes, and funnily enough, like I checked like the date of when it was released, and it was like over a year ago. And like, just hearing it is like, this eye opener, this wake up call that I think that Rehab Room deserves all the credit for this, because it's like it's all it amounted to was Happy holidays, everybody. All it amounted to was like people replacing, their fatherly figures, if you will, with like an online persona. So like I'm just gonna play like a little snippet from Rehab Room's video. Hopefully the audio comes in loud enough. So I'm just gonna stand near the speakers with my unprofessional, you know, news editing and stuff like that. So you're gonna hear it. Oh yeah. Take you back in time.
So what's your name? Keshav. Where are you from? Punjab, India. What's that here in Canada? So I'm here for the studying and mostly for the PR, like that's every international student's dream. So with the job that you're looking for, have you already had any previous experience on that? No, I don't have any experience on any job. Like right now, working at a gas station, it's having me a lot to understand some business tactics, but yeah, but not that much. So in terms of future jobs that you would like to do after you graduate, what are you looking for? I'm an Andrew Tate fan, so jobs are for losers. Pardon?
It means that he's working at a gas station only 10 seconds ago, by the way. Well, the gas station job is still a job. You know that, right? He's one of the dudes Andrew Tate is always clowning. But he doesn't have enough self-awareness and CPU power to understand that he's one of them. You know, those people working at the gas station while Andrew fills up his Bugatti.
Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate. Yeah, the Romanian guy. The bald guy. Tell me why you want to be like Andrew Tate. He says to escape the Matrix. Matrix is like a bubble made by the government. Like,
This is cringe overdose. Even she's cringing. Even she can't stand the cringe myself. Yeah, dude, you're escaping the Matrix alright. In Canada, working at a gas station and watching Andrew Tate. Wow, you are the modern Socrates, bro.
just to be in there, to be slaves, they give you money to work for themselves 9 to 5. That's it. I want to be get rich. Considering how our generation has grown up with so much technology, do you think that in a way we have become lazy?
And you get the point. Actually, hold on. Yeah, it was like it came in pretty okay, and like whatever. I can link the video in my like comment section, but it's a pretty famous clip. It's a like Punjabi guy talking about how he's trying to escape the matrix in the government by like focusing on like his business skills, like Andrew Tate. He's got to expand. He's got to get rich. Ah man, oh, it comes full circle. So these like losers, right? They live vicariously through other people, and they see like the habits of these so-called alpha males. How like Tristan especially like values the whole "I'm gonna have sex with a virgin because it makes me feel special about myself" type of thing, and like to a degree, like if you're a virgin yourself, I guess that could be something that you would seek as desirable. But it just goes to show that as a man, either a girl broke your heart so hard that you're willing to go out there and just ruin it for everybody else, or like you just constantly score with like average chicks, and like the only thing you can salvage from that was, oh yeah, she's a virgin, and that I was her first. Yeah, it felt so good for me, and she was in pain, she was screaming. And like the whole like webcam thing about like getting girls at like younger age, and like grooming them and like saying, I'm gonna marry you, just come out to Romania, and then like boom, stuck in that fucking house making like porn videos with Andrew Tate and the crew. It's probably some gay shit too, because it's like this is coming out now, right? This boxing match has to be like no, like the biggest downfall of his whole career. And like I take it because I was like wondering like what's pissing off the fucking Sikhs and Pakis, right? In my neighborhood. They're fucking pissed. And then I gave it some like thought. Like I was just checking on Monday, and apparently Aiden Ross and like a bunch of other people, like Aiden Ross himself put down like 40 million, right? Now you have to understand something about Aiden Ross. Like this man is on video caught like sniffing the chair of Andrew Tate after he sat in it. So like Andrew Tate sits in the chair, you know, he gets up, hey Ross Combs, and he's on stream doing this. Decides, yo, this is my time to like, you know, catch a whiff of the top G. Yeah, except now he's the bottom G. Yo, there's these two pictures that are floating around about this fight. One of them is him on his knees, like he's trying to give him like a blowjob and shit. And you're like, Chase Demore, his hands are up, almost as if he's like, you know, trying to not like, you know, give him a blow to the back of the head or something, because he's just like, you know, like collapsing. And then this other one where they're two like face to face and like they're almost like I think they're kissing. They're pretty much kissing. Like, and you know, like the craziest shit is how even though Chase Demore is seen as like this really untechnical, unpolished fighter, the fact that he could put down Andrew Tate, and that says more about Andrew Tate and his like whole crew of like sycophantic, you know, pedophilic. I honestly think like men who should not reproduce, which is why like I made that video about endorsing, you know, a gynocentric, you know, I guess for myself, because I can't really like put that on people and say, okay, this is the way we should live from now on. Like if that's their norm to like, you know, have male superiority or like whatever, right? Like this idea of, you know, the whole because like I can agree with the red pill to an extent, because some girls do actually act a lot like men, and to have that layer of protection against yourself when dealing with these let's just call it, you know, what it is, or just, you know, just hoes and shit. You know, like irredeemable people. I think that applies very much, and especially with certain ethnicities, right? When we're talking about like Sikhism and Pakistanis and stuff, like their adoration and love for basically the displacement of not only their people, but the desire to usurp, you know, Hindus and take India and this and that, you know, has allowed them not only to get so close to them that it's dangerous, but allowed their women to just like utilize them and fleece, you know, the Pakis right in front of their, like underneath their noses and stuff. And like even to an extent where they can't even leave. Like people are speculating why Kakash is stuck in this relationship with this girl, and like most likely it's because, you know, it's like they can't do any better, and they can't like undo the fact that she's a whore. So it's like they gotta live with that forever. And, like it's kind of crazy how it's still being brought up, and it's kind of like um I wouldn't say meme status, but like people are still bringing it up. Still people are still bringing up Hassan shocking his dog, and as much as people are saying like, yeah, this is annoying, that's annoying, like to the individuals who this is occurring to, it's like, but yeah, they do say a lot of things to annoy other people though, and you weren't critical of them then, so that's why it's only fair for me to like go out of my way to not only laugh at the grief of Andrew Tate and his loss, and the whole like, you know, movement being lost, because we also have to bring up how the Muslims tried so desperately to fuck over the Jews, and like yeah, to an extent they were successful, but it turns out, right, that apparently this guy and his dad were like some lonely ass losers who weren't actually endorsed by the Islamic State and were acting all by themselves. And they like, you know, they got stopped by like all these people and stuff, even though they ended up killing like an old married couple, like, you know, the bitch ass cowards that they are. What this is a bunch of loser ass men who can't get women and are using terrorists as a guise to hide their loneliness from everybody else because it's more shameful to say that, yeah, I can't get a girlfriend, nobody likes me because I don't exercise and I'm like ugly in the face and all that stuff, right? Rather than, you know, I just want to kill you all. I don't like you, and my religion says to like, do this and do that. So it's like it's an easy cope for these types of people, easy way out because, with the loss of Andrew Tate, like all these people, all these like hacky Sikhs were throwing all this money on this guy to win this fight. Because it's like when you see the playback footage of Chase Demore and he's like fighting these other fighters, it looks so like, flamboyant. And this is coming from me, right? They look so flamboyant and so um pretend fight basically. So and that means inevitably that not only did Andrew Tate lose, but he lost to an unprofessional fighter, a fighter that like I'm actually shocked that he put down Stevie Knight because yeah, I'm subscribed to that guy, and like, you know what I mean, like I don't necessarily follow everything that everybody does and stuff. I'm just, in my own world most of the time, playing video games, doing this, doing that. So it came as a shock to me that this guy, is actually, well known, at least in that circuit of unprofessional professional fighting. I think it's unprofessional. It's like more amateur boxing rather than professional boxing. So to lose to a guy like that, damn, that's that's rough, man. That is rough because what came next has to be the most hilarious shit ever. Andrew Tate had a fucking awakening and a reckoning, and it also illustrates just how like flawed his philosophy was from the get-go, right? He always wanted to be the best. He always wanted to be top dog, top G and stuff. He got gassed out in 2 fucking rounds, dude. That is beyond fucking pathetic. Like, I could understand if the man got TKO'd and like whatever, right? Like he caught one like with his guard down and like, okay, fine. It's a boxing match, whatever. You put yourself out there and you got clocked and it's kind of funny, comical, but at least you went out with like, you're swinging. You're trying your best basically. What proceeded to happen for the next 4 rounds was beyond embarrassing. Not only did like this guy have no technique, Andrew Tate, but he's up against a guy with also no technique. And it's like watching these two guys fight is like watching it's weird. And every so often it's like Chase would throw these like, like bursts of like aggression and then go right back into like a fucking like exhaustion phased hug fest. It was the most and like how do you lose to a guy like that? And then you watch Andrew Tate and like, oh, that's how you're a bitch. Your entire movements are bitches. Like, yo, you see all these Muslims trying to like, fucking disown Andrew Tate. It's like, nah, man, you gotta hold that L. You guys are gassing this guy up from the jump. You know what I mean? In Dubai, he's like, yo, you're the top G. Everyone's just like getting his autograph and shit like that. Yo, you gotta hold that L forever, man. Happy holidays. How much money you guys threw down on that, man? How much money you think you guys threw down? If Aiden Ross, a Jew, threw down 40 mil, I guarantee you, it was some like, Arab guys out there in the UAE trying to like match that or like yo, he's my top dog. He converted to Islam, not Judaism. Oh man, how does it feel? That's like 2 L's you gotta hold. One is from that Algerian like trans boxer who took the title for number one female boxer. It's like actually a man though. And you should see the coach. He's like, "Yeah, we win. The Islamic Republic of Algeria won." Yeah, again, against a man beating up a woman. And now this. Oh, hold that out. And all the terrorist attacks. Like there was a Bondi Beach copycat attack that got foiled because it's like, of course, we had one here in Canada too, and it also got foiled. And I don't know exactly the specific place they were attacking. They were targeting women and children, at least according to the police report, specifically from the Jewish community. So glad that they got stopped. What else? What else? What else? All those Somalians are getting deported and shit. All the Sikhs are getting deported. The H1N1 visas are getting like, rejected en masse. These trucking companies are getting like, written up, getting inspected, all that stuff. It's good. It's shaping up to be a new year, a good new year. I mean, as long as I keep a good perspective on myself, like I'm actually, going to be in business for a long ass time because of how chip prices are going up. So everything that I got, like almost, I wouldn't say 10 years ago, but it feels like it. It's more like, 5 years ago. Like all the tech that I got 5 years ago is going to still be relevant. But yeah, man. Oh, and Hassan is like, going crazy. Like, honestly, I think his biggest problem was the fact that he thinks he still has a career and he just doesn't know when to quit. And when you just watch these more Pegasus videos, you see him mentally spiraling into this, like, crazy, man yelling at all these people who are critical of his, well, the things that come, he says himself, that comes out of his mouth, the things that he does. It's like, yo, why did you steal those things? Why did you burn down that building? Why did you this? Why did you that? Right? And like, obviously, these are hypotheticals. You didn't do any of that shit. But I'm like saying, like, when you accuse somebody of doing something, and like the best thing they can do is constantly deflect, that's the end. That's the end of it. Because much like Hassan, Andrew Tate, he's also deflecting. He's saying that like, yo, I was meant to lose. Like it was God's way of showing me the path of like, being a real man. And like, yo, dude, can you imagine you lose to a guy in a fucking man bun like that? And I feel that for Stevie Knight for like, speaking like so openly and bluntly like this, but like I'm telling you, man, gear is just not good. It's just not good for you, man. Like my beef with it is once you get those people that pass the liver, the blood barrier, basically, um, there's no going back, right? Like that's a hormonal shift that's permanent, and then like you're never gonna be a man no matter how hard you try, and very much in the case of Andrew Tate, gassed out 2 rounds. Like his physique, it looks impressive, right? And that's the problem with it. Like these guys, they care so much about the fucking aesthetics, but like you know what I mean? Like a guy who was like in a strongman or even a CrossFit like type of body would stand more of a chance in a fight with Chase Demore than fucking Andrew Tate. Like to be fair, and I was like, yo, it's funny how like I gotta bring this up like because I'm bringing up Hassan. Um, in a fight between these two, Chase Demore, I think Sam Hyde would take him, dude. I don't think it'll be easy because, like, I think even though Chase Demore doesn't have good technique, like he's still significantly strong and he's still pretty fast. So then there's that. Like you can still get caught off guard. Like I said, like if Andrew Tate got like clipped or got like taken out TKO in like round 2, round 3 at least, it would have been like something that like at least okay. This is the risk involved with boxing. You can get like knocked out if you like, misread your opponent. It just happens, right? But the fact that you just had to hug it out. This is your role model, guys. Andrew Tate. You gotta escape the matrix, and then watch your girl. Go through her roster. Wow, boys. White boys. It's gonna be a white Christmas. Alright, Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy Holidays. Take care.